Welcome to the tutorial for Hill. What is Hill about? In Hill, you'll be presented with a number of images taken from shelves in a grocery store, and your task is to indicate whether the image contains an out-of-stock item or it doesn't contain an out-of-stock item. If it does contain an out-of-stock item, your task is to also find which item on the shelf is out of stock. The idea here is that our model already has a pretty good idea what an out-of-stock item looks like, so the images you will receive will most likely contain an out-of-stock item. But your task is to double check our model and make sure that its predictions are correct. So once you have your credentials set up, you can head over to labeler.focal.systems and you log in and you'll be seeing something that looks like this. On the left-hand side, you would click on Hill. So once you click on the Hill tab, you'd be presented with a screen like this, and then you can click on Get Image to get your image. So it's always a step-by-step process. The first step is to always indicate whether the image that you see actually contains an out-of-stock item or not. In this case, we can see there's no out-of-stock item, so we would just say no, and then we can submit the image. So let's repeat this process and see if there's an out-of-stock item. Here, this is close, but as you can see, there is actually no out-of-stock there. There's still, we can still see the red here. There's still an item on that shelf. So an out-of-stock item is just if there is a void in the shelf that's associated with the product tag as well, and there are no items left. That's what we categorize as an out-of-stock. So this one would not be an out-of-stock just because there's still one item at the back that we can see. So we would say no and move on to the next image here as well. This image looks like it contains an out of stock right here from all we can tell. There's no product left, so we would say yes. And then you'll see step 2 comes up, which is to draw a bounding box around each of the voids that you can see. We can only see one, which is this one right here. So we'll click New Bounding Box. This generates this box on the image. Drag it over here. And then now the task is to resize it in a specific way, which is to include the product tag in the bounding box, as well as indicate the size of the void on the shelf, like so. So we want to move from this part of the shelf to this part of the shelf and include the product tag. And on the sides, have it sized so that it matches the void on the shelf. So this is how the product boxes need to be placed. After you've done that, you can click Confirm Selections, and then step 3 on the right side will pop up. First thing you notice, there are images from an aisle. So these images are images that we've taken in the past of the store, and the task is basically to match this image on the left, which is an image that has been taken in the store recently, to an image on the right, which is an image that we've taken in the past. So these images are high resolution images that we've taken of the store in the past, and they contain product tags as well. So basically you match this image on the left and you find this item on the left in a past image, and then in the past image you select the product tag it belongs to, and via this information we're able to extract what exact item is out of stock. We get the UPC, we get the item name, and then this is presented in a dashboard where we get an overview of all the items that are out of stock in the store. So again, the images on the left are live images from the store that our cameras have taken this day. So those are live images that we get in from the store, from the morning till night every day. And the images on the right are images we've taken in the past of the store. And the goal is to match the live images to past images, essentially. So in step 3, you see there are a number of ways to browse through the past images that we've taken of the store. One is the aisle selector, which allows you to just jump from aisle to aisle, which is one way to go through the images. Now there are no names necessarily associated with all the aisles, like aisle 1 to 12 might not tell you all that much. There will be a map that will be provided to you as well that can help you with an overview as to where items are in the store in these aisles. But on top of that, there's also a search function. So if you click switch to search, you'll be seeing this field here. And what you can do now is type in items that you can see in this image. So you can see, for instance, this is bacon down here. So let's just try bacon. And then a number of images are loaded. So this one actually looks really close to what this is. So let's select it. And yeah, this is the exact same spot right here. So we're now trying to find this tag. It looks like this is the first, second, third, fourth shelf. First, second, third, fourth shelf up here, and then it's the second item to the left. So it would be this tag. That's what we're looking for. This now does not have information pre-filled, so we can zoom in and the tag and fill in what we can see. So the goal is to always at least fill in the UPC if possible. So we've done that. And then the legible name, make sure to understand that the legible name is not the name as you can see it on the tag. This is an abbreviated version of the legible name, and it is not necessarily what the legible name actually looks like, so do not fill in this tag name under legible name, but the legible name is actually the name as it appears in the product. So what you can do is you can try to zoom in on the product and discern what it is, or make a guess based on the abbreviated name here. So in this case, GV is Great Value, that's the brand. So in this case, it would be Great Value sliced ham. So you can fill in this information. If you can't discern that from the picture, then you can leave it blank, but the goal should be to always at least fill in the UPC. And so now after we've done this, we can select the tag here. So we click Select Tag. You can see it goes to red. Why it does that is because you actually, when you select the tag, what you should do is you click this one first, the bounding box that you created, and then you click the tag, then you click Select Tag, and now you can see the color here changed to the color of the bounding box here, and the bounding box got this little check mark to indicate that this bounding box has been matched to a tag. So now we've basically linked this tag to this bounding box, and thereby indicated that the item that's out of stock here is the item that we found in this tag here. So this is basically the process that you would go through to match an out of stock. Also note on these tags, most of the time the information will actually be pre-filled, so we just kind of got unlucky and got a tag that didn't have all the information pre-filled. So a lot of times you don't have to worry about actually filling these fields because they will be pre-filled and there's nothing you have to do about it. You can just leave it like that and just match this tag to this bounding box. So now we've matched this bounding box to this tag, and we can just close and save, and we can submit the image. So let's do that, and then we'll get a confirmation window like this. It just gives us another chance to look at if everything's correct and if we're ready to submit the image, and here we are. Let's run through another example. So in this image too, we can see there's an out of stock right here. We can see this looks entirely empty, and there is a shelf tag as well that goes with this out of stock here. So we can say yes, then we click New Bounding Box, drag it over here, size it to the size of the void. We include the product tag, go up here, and now we can confirm our selection. Do note that you don't have to mark shelf voids that are not associated with the product tag. So the rule of thumb is if there are no items in a particular part of the shelf that is associated with the product tag, in that case you have to mark it as an out of stock. If there is no product tag associated to the void in the shelf, you do not have to mark it as an out of stock. If there are still items on the shelf that are just far to the back, you do not have to mark it as an out of stock. So we're only marking out of stocks if the part of the shelf is completely empty, there's no product left, and there is a product tag associated with that void on the shelf. So what you see on the right Um, this is the aisle that is predicted here is the aisle that our model thinks this image was taken in. This isn't necessarily always correct, so you can click through a few images here and see if this might actually be a match or not. It not always will be. A lot of the times it will be correct, some of the times it will not be. This one actually looks pretty close, so let's click through a couple images here. So what you're doing once you click through these images is you're basically moving along the aisle to see and find a matching image. So we can see these products kind of look really similar here. So yeah, we can see this one. For instance, we can see these blue bottles up here next to these white ones with the turquoise cap, which is up here. So we're now looking for the image that's below it because this is the product we want to match. So it's one shelf below this one. Let's see if you have this image here somewhere as well. You might notice that they're not always in order. So this is clearly the top part of the shelf, not the bottom part. And this is actually the bottom part up here. So sometimes they're a little mixed up. And sometimes these images are not in order either, where top, middle, bottom don't actually match. So that's something that we're working on correcting, but this is still something you might encounter from time to time. So let's see if we can find this part of the image somewhere. We got it. I think this looks like it. Yeah, we can see this right here. So this orange bottle is here, it's here, then the green one's here, it's here. This white one is next to it. So this should be the one item that's out of stock. So we can click into it and we can see the UPC in this one's actually pre-filled. So there's nothing else we need to do. So we can just click select tag, close and save, and submit the image. Just double check again. This all looks good. And we can move on and submit. Next one, we can see there is an out of stock item here. So same procedure again. We make a bounding box, draw it over here, and this aisle is probably correct. But just to show you another way of finding items is the search function, as I showed you earlier. So what you can do is you can type in specific brand names, but you can also just type in kind of more general search terms like body lotion, for instance. This will give you a number of images. So remember, this search isn't necessarily exhaustive. Not all items are tagged. Not all body lotions are tagged body lotions. You might have to be a little creative to find the item that you're looking for. But there's a way to use search to basically jump from aisle to aisle, especially when our model's prediction of the aisle is incorrect. This might be a good way to actually find the right aisle. So in this case, we can see that these are all looking pretty similar to this image. So this might probably be in this right aisle. So once you hover over one of these images in the search results, you can see this button, Nearby Images. So once you click Nearby Images, what it actually does is it takes you to the aisle this image was taken in, and you can see all the items in that aisle, and it allows you to click through them this way. So it's basically a way to jump to another aisle. It doesn't necessarily go directly to the part of the shelf that you just clicked on, but it will take you to the start of the aisle that this item's in, and it allows you to browse through them. So this is another way to use the search function to find what you're looking for. Another thing that's important is that if you encounter an image that has a human or a part of a human in it, like here we can see people in the background through this gap in the shelf, always click no and then submit the image. It doesn't matter if there's an out-of-stock item in it or not. If there is a human or even the slightest part, even if there's just a finger in it, it's very, very important that you click no and then submit the image. You will not always be able to match an image that you see on the left to an image that we've taken in the past. There are a couple reasons for that. Sometimes the shelf composition in the store has changed. So you might see the item, but it's not in the right spot anymore. The tags have shifted around. And the other thing is that we don't necessarily have 100% coverage with our images. all the time. So there might be gaps where you're just not able to match an image. In that case, you can click on no matching image found and then send the image without any matching tags. Again, the goal is to find a matching SKU, but sometimes you just won't be able to. And in that case, you can click no matching image found, but always try your best to find a SKU. That is the goal of this task, is to always get to SKU level. But again, sometimes that will just be possible, and in that case, you can send it as no matching image found. So yeah, this is what Hill is all about. This is a task that we are continuously offering every day, from about 7 to 8 a.m. in the morning to about 8 to 10 p.m. in the evening. That's the time frame in which we're getting images in from the store. And during that time frame, we need people on the platform to help us process them as fast and efficiently as we possibly can. If you have any questions, you can always email me at tobias@focal.systems. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have. And thank you for watching.